A new season of Pirelli GT4 America dawns today here at Sonoma Raceway. This 2.5-mile, 12-turn track is a North American classic, featuring over 150 feet of elevation change over a single lap. Since it first opened in 1968, Sonoma has challenged many of the world's best road racers, and today that challenge looms ahead for the stars of North America's premier GT4 series. Hello and welcome. Good evening from Northern California. As we head into the dusk, it is time to go Pirelli GT4 America racing for the first time in the 2024 calendar year. My name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside Amanda Busick doing yeoman's work down in the pit lane for us on a beautiful day in Northern California. 16 degrees Celsius, somewhere around 60 degrees Fahrenheit. A little bit of humidity in the air and a light breeze, but all in all, a nice day to be out at the racetrack watching GT4 racing. Cal?
What a fabulous start to the championship season. We've seen some great racing so far here today, and this is always one of our favorites. Deep field, separated by the three classes, of course. Some new cars in there and new combinations. First day of school, it's always fun.
And for us, let's remember there's been hardly any track running all throughout the week. Some issues with the track surface that the track has done a wonderful job to repair. It's held up beautifully over the course of the day today, but that means we've not seen these cars on track much here this weekend. So bear with us, folks. We're going to be learning along with you as we start a brand new campaign. So much excitement, though, and it all starts, I think, at the very front of this grid, Calvin. Remember 1 year ago, Tech Sport Racing came here with some brand new Nissans? Well, it was a development program. I'd say the development paid off because they've swept the front row of the grid 1 year later.
What a story, just superb, and see so many of the manufacturers right in the mix here this weekend, but that is definitely the headline. Eric Powell will lead this field of green aboard the number 22 in the Pro-Am entry. Newdorf alongside in the 23 car running in the silver class. So all of these variables, you got Charlie Potions up there, 7th overall, an AM double champion alongside James Clay over the last couple of seasons. So Bimmerwald are back in a big way as well.
It's a wonderful field here. Great mix of manufacturers, all to SRO GT4 specification. The field embarks on its second of 2 formation laps. One piece of intel I got from just before the start of the race, the 2 Tech Sport cars, they elected to start on sticker tires, and they told me, Eric Powell, one of their drivers, mentioned they struggled a little bit this weekend getting those cars to get some heat in their tires and warm up right away. So there's a bit of a gamble there because I'm told most of the grid is starting on scuffed tires here today. So something to keep an eye on at the very start. The 2 cars at the front of the field on stickers, the rest on, or not the rest, but many of the rest are on scuffs. One thing we should talk about too is this is a brand new track surface. In some cases, less than 24 hours old. The track is a very different animal to when we were here last 1 year ago. The repave has changed the whole complexion.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a big learning curve for these teams here. They got that 45-minute session this morning to work with, which is really a big practice session, but the grid was set for both day 1 and day 2 here, but still a lot of learning. They'll tweak on the race cars from what they learned this morning and try and make them a little bit better. But for the drivers, they've got to learn not only how to execute a lap time, but now how to race on this circuit because the brake zones are much shorter. We saw interesting dynamic early today in some of the races where drivers thought they were in a position to make a move, but that brake zone is so much shorter with the force that you get through the track surface here.
Awesome field getting ready to go. The front row all made up of Nissans. It's Eric Powell on the pole. Jonathan Newdorf will start next to him in the sister car. 2 different classes though, Pro-Am and Silver respectively. Then it's John Jesbray who will start in the 3rd position for Smooge Racing. He's got a new co-driver this year, and Tyler Gonzalez, the reigning GR Cup champ. That will be fun to watch. Hanley Motorsports set to line up in the 4th position with Dan Hanley, 2nd-year driver who has improved a great deal in a short amount of time. Row 3, Auto Technic and Colin Garrett, his first year with the team. That could be a really interesting entry this season And on his outside, Kevin Bohm from the Random Vandals squad. So many more. It's a deep field as ever in Pirelli GT4 America. Great alignment, at least at the front of the pack, as the field enters the VP acceleration zone. And Eric Powell, the Rover Pole Award winner, will lead the field to the green with his young teammate Neudorf alongside. They go side by side into turn number 1 as the green flag waves on the 2024 season.
Yeah, Neudorf looks like he's going to try and hang tough around the outside. Now he's to the inside, almost a touch there between the two teammates at the front of this pack.
Still side by side between the two Tech Sport machines at the front of the grid. Big twitch there as they look for grip on cold tires. No tire warmers in this championship. Looks like the battle for the lead has sorted itself out, but the fight is on there for the 3rd spot.
Powell there with the black hood. He is now leading from the pole. Neudorf drops the spot. It looks like they try to fight it out through turn 4.
Wow, what a frantic start to the race. Here's a big move up the inside. I think that is Jesbray taking a peek up into the 2nd spot around Neudorf. Great job by John Jesbray, former AM-class champion.
Everyone trying to settle in. Neudorf misses his braking point. Jesbray is through there.
Kevin Bohm seeking to follow him through. That's the CrowdStrike-sponsored BMW from Random Vandals Racing. He and Kenton Cook were championship contenders a year ago. Certainly ones to beat if you ask the folks in the paddock. If you're looking for favorites, they're at the top of many people's lists.
Hanley is the one that's missing. Started on the 2nd row. Do not see him maybe right at the tail end of this field. In the 999 machine, his teammate Parker Thompson will start the race tomorrow from the pole. So something went amiss, I believe, with the Hanley Motorsport entry here on this opening lap.
Looking out the window, he's got his emergency lights flashing on that car. He's fallen to the very back of the pack, and there may be some damage on that car. We'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, here's a battle breaking out. BMW versus Aston Martin coming around to complete lap number 1.
Relatively clean first lap. That's James Walker Jr. aboard the number 82 Bimmer World entry.
Fighting with Gray Newell. Newell fighting back to the inside. Charlie Poston's 2-time and defending AM-class champion. Yeah, that's the 2nd BMW in the shot, sandwiching the Aston of Newell.
Good start there by James Walker Jr. Actually qualified 1 spot behind Charlie in this morning's session. Gray Newell going to share that car with Roman DeAngelis. He's the gold-rated driver, the pro driver in that lineup for Heart of Racing. So many stellar driver lineups in this field. Certainly exciting to think about the prospects for this championship season.
Behind this trio, you've got Demi Chalkis, the one of 2 new drivers for the JMF Motorsports effort. That's the Mercedes you see right here, and chasing her is Hannah Greenmeyer in the all-female lineup for Heart of Racing, back for another go.
Everyone's settling in. Racetrack has held up tremendously well. A lot of apprehension after the resurfacing that took place here yesterday. There you see one of those patches down in turn 9, but they've done a brilliant job. Everyone has dug deep to get the work done, and we've been rewarded with a good racetrack and excellent racing here today.
What a fantastic start to this race for Eric Powell in the pole-sitting Nissan for Tech Sport Racing, based out of North Carolina, close to the VIR track. Eric Powell and Colin Harrison. That's the duo for the 2nd straight year for this team. And Eric is a bit under the weather. He had a tooth abscess that suddenly emerged earlier in the week and had to make trips to the dentist in between testing sessions earlier in the week. He's got a root canal scheduled for Monday before he could fly back home. So driving through some pain here today.
Yeah, and Eric is a real talent. He's finally got an opportunity here in a really solid program. Went through a development curve last year with this, but great effort by Nissan to really get these cars out here. We've had a little bit of an update. There's 4 of these cars in the field here this weekend, so they're starting to stack the numbers a little bit, and they're getting some great performance here early in the season.
Powell, Jesbray, Bohm, Neudorf, Garrett. That's the top 5. 4 of them belong to the silver class. That silver class this year is stacked. Several really captivating lineups. And you could see them here at the front of the field. Jesbray leads that class at the moment, but giving chase is Kevin Boehm, who was through the wars last year, fighting for a championship all season long.
Yeah, Colin Garrett teaming up with Zach Anderson. That's an exciting driver lineup as well for Auto Technique Racing.
Second place in the Pro-Am class. You got to go down to 6th overall, but that's where you find this red and black BMW. James Walker Jr., he holds the spot. Gray Newell, who is chasing him, that is for position in class. And behind Newell, you find the leader in AM. This car, the number 36 Optima Batteries machine, driven by Charlie Postins.
Yeah, Postins just does an excellent job every single week. He and James Clay have had so much success over the last couple of seasons. They return, just love the weekends, have a lot of fun, but certainly get the job done on the racetrack as well, which is the icing on the cake. But Bimmerwald just knows how to lay down one of these BMWs in terms of the setup and maximize this BMW program. I think Tyler McQuarrie is going to be licking his chops to get behind the wheel of that 82 car that's being driven excellently right now by James Walker Jr.
Talked about Postins leading the AM class. It was really a rout of the field last year, going to the AM class championship for the 2nd straight year. I think things are going to be a lot more difficult this season, and a big reason why is the 2nd place car in that class right now, running 10th overall. Hannah Greenmeyer has been drafted in to join Hannah Grisham for Heart of Racing. Hannah Grisham was part of this team last year, along with Brianna O'Meara Hunt. They were part of that all-female driver initiative from this team. But one change to the lineup, Greenmeyer joining Grisham. Greenmeyer comes from an open-wheel background as well as an MX-5 background, but has slotted into this Aston Martin and been right on the pace here this weekend. Right now, keeping tabs with the 2-time and defending champion in her class, just one car separating her, and that's Demi Chalkas on debut. Powell across the line. Here comes Neudorf. He's looking racing again to the inside of Jesbray and grabs the spot away. How about this young man? Mackay Stevens is his teammate this year, so a new home for Mackay, and he was really, really effusive in his praise of his young teammate Neudorf when we talked to him earlier today.
Yeah, Mackay said this car is so much edgier than the Mercedes that he's been used to over the last few seasons, but he said his teammate is certainly comfortable in that zone, and that's something that Mackay's got to get used to. But you know, the quality of Mackay and the speed that he has, it will not take him long, and they've got a lot of amazing potential between that driver lineup within that Tech Sport group this year.
Neudorf from Canada comes to Pirelli GT4 America with an MX-5 Cup background, has also done some Spec Miata racing, including racing in the runoffs back in 2022. So many of these drivers come from MX-5 or Miata racing. It's a great training ground because it teaches you how to drive fast without a whole lot of power at your disposal.
Yeah, and without a whole lot of room on the racetrack either. Those cars tend to run nose to tail all day long, and we see a lot of that similar action here in GT4 America as well.
CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race, by the way, on the last lap to Jonathan Neudorf. What an impressive debut.
Yeah, let's see what he can do with that pace now. He's settled back in now. Eric Powell leads from the pole position. A little bit of side-by-side action. Elbows are out there in the opening corners, but they've settled in. Got their Tech Sport racing cars back into a 1-2 running order, admittedly running in different classes. There's a Pro-Am car of Eric Powell leading. Silver for Neudorf now into second.
And it should not come as a surprise that Neudorf is getting stronger as the run progresses. He just ran a 1:41.8. That is easily the fastest lap of the race to this point. Remember the intel I passed along from Eric Powell earlier in the show. These cars, he said, they've struggled to get up to speed quickly but they've had good pace once they get there. Well, I'd say they've gotten there now with Neudorf putting down consecutive CrowdStrike fastest laps of the race.
Yeah, and talking to some of the other Nissan camps, they said the car's got pretty good straightaway speed, so if they got lap time as well, that makes it really good in terms of raceability, in terms of maintaining. You're not vulnerable in terms of some of the brake zones if you're a little bit weak on the straightaway, so they seem to have some of the boxes ticked right now, but it's early days for this championship.
Taking a peek in here once more, Charlie Postins back with this same team that has run him to the championship each of the last 2 years. Each year it seems like they say, oh no, we're done, we're gonna rest on our laurels, go off into the sunset on a high or something like that. But then, inevitably, next year he and James Clay are back for another go-round.
Yeah, I think James is used to it. He lets Charlie have a month or two to settle down and then realize how much he's gonna miss it, and the phone rings and they're back together.
Hard to dispute their method, right? I mean, you look at the amount of wins and podiums they've racked up over the past few seasons, and despite being in what would conceivably be the lowest class, the AM class, it is not uncommon to see them finish in the top 5 overall.
Yeah, and I think that's where they get some of their enjoyment from as well. But I think you alluded to it, Ryan. It's going to be a lot tougher task this year. There's some really strong AM combinations this year, so to get that three-peat is not going to be easy for them.
Dropping quite a bit deeper into the field here, and we pick up this battle. Todd Perriott is fighting with Jason, nope. Who is he fighting
Matt
with?
Bell,
Matt
I believe.
Bell.
Great
Yeah.
to see him back. It's been a long time. He's been off the radar. Excellent young driver. Well, I'm not sure he's young any longer. How much we've missed him, but really has an excellent pedigree, had a lot of success at this sort of level in various championships here in North America. And great to see him have this opportunity aboard the 43 machine.
Californian, who's been active at least since 2008, racing cars of roughly this performance level in an era before GT4 really took off, but then transitioning into GT4. Great to have the American Matt Bell as part of the championship here. And he'll be paired up with Alex Vogel here this season. And Alex makes the step to Pirelli GT4 America after having run primarily in GT3 cars over the last couple of seasons in GT America.
And I think Alex is going to enjoy this step into the Pirelli GT4 championship, because I think he's going to have some great racing. He's going to learn from his teammate. And I think they're going to have a really solid season together, already showcasing that potential early here today.
Scrap starting to develop between Jesbray and Bohm for third in the silver class. Jesbray in the Supra and Bohm in the BMW giving chase. Not too far behind is Colin Garrett as well. Don't sleep on him in that Auto Technic team. I think that pairing of Colin Garrett with Zach Anderson could be one to watch.
Oh, there's so many strong pairings, though, particularly in that silver class, and it's going to be a fight for that championship. So many stellar teams as well, great prep shops. Big day for CrowdStrike already, taking a victory in our Fanatec GT race a little bit earlier today for Colin Brown and George Kurtz, of course. Here's our pole sitter, Eric Powell, continuing to lead at the front. That gap is just over 2 seconds over his teammate, but he's got a big, healthy lead. James Walker Jr. is the next Pro-Am car back in P6. And that's about 14, 15 seconds now, the gap. So he wants to build on that and give his teammate as much of a gap as he can when he turns the reins over on that Nissan.
I did want to tie up the story of the Hanley Motorsports Supra. We mentioned they had dropped to the back at the beginning of the race. Report from Amanda is that there was contact on lap 1. Some potential damage to that car too. So now the goal is to get to 50% race distance so that they can at least score some points.
Yeah, that's a shame, because they were pretty bullish about their prospects here today with a pole position for tomorrow and row 2 start for Daniel Hanley. Daniel's really taken the game seriously. I think he's got great tutelage from Parker Thompson, who's really become just a solid pro, really, at this level of competition. And I think he's certainly teaching Daniel how committed you have to be both on and off the racetrack.
It's got to be nice for them to come into a season, though, with actually some time to prepare. If you remember, they debuted here with about 2 weeks' notice. That's how much time it took them to put the team together ahead of the season opener last year, and they were immediately on the pace. Putting a full race weekend together at times was the struggle, but by the end of the season, you could tell this was an outfit with some real potential.
This is the carousel, downhill plunge, looking for that point in the corner where you can be back to full throttle, get that acceleration run, slight uphill run here into the turn 7 brake zone. This corner here is where the drivers have all said you just carry so much speed compared to years past. You got to really retrain your thinking through there.
15 minutes into this 60-minute race. If you're a longtime fan of Pirelli GT4 America, we should let you know there is a difference in the regulations this year compared to years past. Gone is the mandatory pit window of 10 minutes. Instead, the stint lengths effectively will be dictated by a minimum and maximum stint length. So, Calvin, you've done the math. Tell us how that's going to break down.
Yeah, well, basically it means if you come into pit lane with 23 minutes and 30 seconds on the board, by the time you serve your minimum pit stop delta, that would mean that you wouldn't exceed the 35-minute maximum drive time for the second driver. So that's where the strategy can come into play. So if you've got an AM driver in the car starting here, you may want to try and maximize your pro driver's seat time and take that earliest opportunity. So we're getting pretty close to that. We're not too far away.
Eric Powell starting to hit his stride at the front of the field. The lead is up to 2.6 seconds. He just turned the CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race, snagging those honors away from his teammate, Jonathan Neudorf. And Powell doing exactly what he needs to do, which is build a gap for his less experienced teammate, Colin Harrison, who will drive the second stint. Another regulation change for this year, as you're not locked in to the pro or the AM starting or finishing a race based on their pro or AM status. The teams actually can nominate that going back to Thursday of race week. Tech Sport elected to do what we saw DXDT Racing do in the Fanatec GT race earlier today, start their pro, the idea being let's get a gap and then let the less experienced driver nurse that gap, hopefully to a win or a podium.
Yeah, you definitely need things to go your way if you do that by starting the faster driver. And you hope that you don't get a yellow to, you know, erase that gap that you've built. Problem here in turn 7.
Our 07 is around, and that's Chung from the LA Precision Racing team, teamed up with Ryan Eversley this year. Very exciting duo there. But Harry with a spin in turn 7, that cost him a great deal of track position, unfortunately.
Yeah, talking to his teammate Ryan Eversley, he was so pumped by Harry Chung's pace here this weekend. Said he didn't test, got behind the wheel, and was immediately within a second of Ryan Eversley. He said, we can work with that. We can perform some magic with that sort of pace. So they'll be disappointed that he's had that moment there over in turn 7.
It's going to take some getting used to, though, seeing Ryan Eversley in a Toyota after so many years with Honda.
Yeah, it really is. It's a shame that that association couldn't continue, because I really feel that Ryan did an awesome job for Honda, for HPD, which is now known as Honda Racing Corporation, HRC, of course. But times move on, and he certainly got a great opportunity with this new group.
There might be something more wrong with Harry Chung's car, because we can see out our window he missed the chicane and had to stop in between some tire barriers and might be making his way into the pits. It looks like he is. So something might be amiss with that car beyond a simple spin. And yeah, I guess we got some confirmation from the truck. There is some suspension askew on that machine, and that's perhaps an inauspicious start to their 2024 campaign.
Well, we assume there was contact with another car, because where we saw him stranded on the racetrack, he hadn't hit a tire barrier or anything. So we'll see who was involved potentially with that moment. So disappointment, but Ryan Eversley is so pumped about the opportunity with this new group. And certainly these new cars are showing great pace early.
Colin Garrett has reeled in Kevin Boehm over the last few laps. It was, for a moment, looking like it was going to be a fight between Jesbray and Boehm. Instead, it's become between Boehm and Garrett. for 4th and 5th overall, 3rd and 4th in class.
Yeah, Garrett coming off that TCX championship last year, so a couple of champions teamed together. A lot of potential.
Dropping back to this fight, we've got the Jaden Lander-driven Porsche from Rotec Racing at the back of this pack. 12th place is Michael Oriema.
There's Bell in the 43 machine.
Yep, Bell sits 13th overall. Race Vision powered by AWS. Best laps overall, Nissan, BMW, Toyota.
Well, certainly the Nissans have got off to a strong start here. I'll have to wait and see if they can maintain that pace. Here's a bold move down into the carousel.
Yeah, that's Bell, able to get past Oriema there, pick up the spot. Oriema, by the way, will be turning that car over to former IndyCar driver Matthias Leist. Haven't called his name in a race in a really long time, but it was very cool to see it pop up on the entry list.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see how he adapts to GT racing, but really nice move there by Matt Bell. We talked about it's great to see him back in GT competition, and seemed like he hasn't missed a beat. That was a really solid overtaking maneuver there, and he's taken off immediately.
Certainly was. That is just outside the podium in the Pro-Am class. That was for 4th in class. As you can see, a couple big movers, including James Walker Jr., up 7 spots in Pro-Am. There you see, this is the fight for 4th. It has changed hands with Bell making the move on Oriema. Now, Oriema starting to fall back into the clutches of an AM class car, and that is Jaden Lander.
Running with Rotec, they've already had a victory here today in their GT America GT4 class earlier today. Ooh, that's a deep one, and wow, eats up all of that curb, launches it over the top, gets away with it, and the 60 car dives back down to the inside and takes that position back.
Those are teammates, by the way. Those are 2 NOLA Sport cars.
Make for good dinner conversation tonight. Got away with it. Could have been some tears.
Well, I think the conversation might go something along the lines of, you can defenestrate that idea. Just throw it out the window. Don't do that again.
Going with your big words again, aren't you, Ryan?
From time to time. 37 minutes, 45 seconds on the clock. Where are we relative to the pit window, albeit not in an official context, but opening up for some of these drivers from a strategic perspective?
I think we're about a minute away. I think with 36:30 to go, you could come in, do your 90-second minimum pit stop delta, and then have the next driver go out and still have 35 minutes on the board, which is the maximum drive time. So again, you'd expect to see any AM driver right now maybe jump in if they've got a pro who's going to finish off this deal and maximize their drive time. And that's not a pit stop at your pit box, that's actually at the timing line at pit entry for that. So that could be different, and maybe someone deeper in the pack who can have the first opportunity versus the leader of the race making that first move.
Looking at the running order here, who out of this top group do you think would be the first to make that jump? I'd say maybe James Walker down in 6th would be a candidate to make that call.
Great Newell.
Yep.
I mean, Postons and Clay have similar pace, so they'll probably keep Charlie out there a little bit.
Couple of drivers getting ready. That's young Austin Crines. The fact that Austin is standing there getting ready to get in the car means his dad Roland must be back.
He got back, yeah. He was off on a business trip, missed his flight to get back here for that practice session this morning. So interesting day for those, but sounds like Dad did make it back and started this race.
Such a cool experience to get to share the car with your dad. Those two have been at it now for a couple of years, teamed up with the RS1 team once again. Speaking of RS1, let's keep an eye on the car 10th overall. John Capestro-Dubets and Eric Filgaris teaming up. Eric Filgaris, 2 years ago, was a champion in this series. Last year, he was a champion in Fanatec GT, looked set to be part of a Pro-Am lineup back in Pirelli GT4 America this year. For various reasons, they've had a lineup shuffle just before the start of the season. And John Capestro-Dubets got the call up off the bench. What a pairing those two could be, because Capestro-Dubets himself is a GT4 champion.
Yeah, and I think that call came literally this week, just a few days before the event started. So very much a late call up. He didn't think he was going to be competing, but JCD, as we like to call him, has been the real deal. He had that injury last year, so he didn't share that championship with Zach Anderson, but he is top shelf in terms of his driver talent, and great to see him teamed up with young Eric, and they're going to make some magic happen with that team this year.
This is the car in question. CBW, Community Beer Works, once again the sponsor of that team. Tom Kopczynski, who owns Community Beer Works, was slated to be the second driver. Eric Filgaris is his longtime driver coach and mentor in the racing game.
Here we go. We're past that moment in the race. 36:30 on the board. We're at 2 minutes inside that, so this will create a bit of a domino effect. So you sometimes play off what the other competitors do, trying to get your pros on board. So you got that 50-kilometer speed limit to work with, then you got a minimum pit stop time from pit in to pit out of 90 seconds. You have effectively a 1 second joker to play with. If you're up to 1 second shy of that number, you'll then have a penalty times 10. So if you're a 10th underneath, that would be a second penalty awarded to you at the finish of the race.
That is a change from last year. It had previously been a 5 times penalty, now doubled to 10 times for that.
Yeah, they felt some people were taking advantage of that and willing to take maybe a half a second penalty to gain some track position.
Crucial driver changes here for the Tech Sport team. That is Mackay Stevens. First time we've seen him in anything but a Mercedes GT4. Told us still struggling to get the feel for this Nissan, but very early days.
He'll get it.
Yep.
I mean, he is just true quality. I love his racecraft. He's put together some phenomenal performances here over the last couple of seasons, and some brilliant moves. Nola comes back immediately as that side-by-side action we saw last year.
Ultimately lost out on what was a true photo finish. It actually went to the photos to determine who won, because you could not tell based on just timing and scoring.
Who was that with? Was that with JCD?
John Capestro-Dubets.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely remarkable show of respect between the two of them on that final half a lap. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm sure it's somewhere on YouTube. But yeah, we'll see a lot of that out of Mackay Stevens, one of the best.
Is this Rob Holland jumping on board? I think
yes.
The Rotec entry.
Spot on. This team for many years ran Mustangs, but a couple years back made the switch to the Porsches. They've had great support.
So no refueling, no tire changes. You can adjust the tire pressures, and obviously the driver change is the key component of this pit stop. There's typically enough margin there. You don't have to absolutely nail. You just can't afford it to go wrong as now Postins hits pit lane.
That battle we were watching a moment ago, by the way, that was Mackay Stevens, fresh into that car, fighting with Zach Anderson, who just replaced Colin Garrett. Those two fought one another quite a bit last year, albeit in Mackay's case in a different machine. Here are the AM class leaders going deep into the window. We do tend to see this because the pace between James Clay and Charlie Postins, there's basically no difference. So that gives them a lot of strategy flexibility, and they have used that to their advantage over the years.
You certainly have, and you basically got 6.5 minutes before someone has to hit pit lane. You can't exceed it on the front side. There's no way of getting that back. If you were a little shy on the backside, you'd always come down pit lane to suffice, because any time spent on pit lane does not get accounted for in your drive time, but that would still be a big penalty to have to drive through to get you back inside the window.
Eric Powell, by the way, continues to lead. He has yet to make that call to the pit lane, and that has allowed this lead to expand. This is exactly what he is hoping for, though. Plenty of green flag running. Powell now hits the pit lane, And we will soon see how big of a gap did he build, and will it be enough for young Colin Harrison to bring that car home?
Going to be a lot of pressure on him, but the car's performing well.
Really great drive from Eric Powell.
Being led in there by the 5 car from the Flying Lizard entry. That's actually a backup chassis. They had a massive crash here with Rosinski right here coming through the, well, actually I think it was turn 3 where he lost control on cold tires relatively, and had to go to the backup car that Nissan fortunately had here this weekend in their trailer. So a lot of work by the Flying Lizard group to get that car back out there.
Powell out, Harrison getting installed for Tech Sport Racing.
You see the tire pressure adjustments, getting them back into their zone. See a lot of these bikes, see the rear wing there, it's actually made of that hemp material, which a lot of the manufacturers are now electing to use versus carbon fiber on some of these body pieces.
Well, team owner Deb Papalizio has to love what she has seen from this Tech Sport operation, sweeping the front row in this race, controlling the opening stint. Now less than a half an hour to go, trying to deliver the first global victory for this generation of this Nissan GT4 car. The car that raced last year, slightly different, based on a different road-going car. This is, in many respects, a new version of that machine. And it is yet to find victory lane. This could be a breakthrough.
It could, and I think for Tech Sport, they're probably feeling the pressure a little bit. They got time with the cars last year in developing those, but when you get squads like Black Dog, Speed Shop, and Flying Lizard suddenly take the same platform, you're thinking, wow, we want to be the team that gets that first victory for the manufacturer.
Harrison already in the thick of things, and I'm not sure if this is for position or not. It might have been. I think it must have been. I think that was Kenton Cook coming through.
Yeah, he really struggled to get up to speed there, so I'm not sure exactly how that developed. This is the outlap, and I mean, essentially he got tire temperature, so he just got into a big spin there.
And that's Mackay Stevens.
Wow, he talked about the car being edgy for him. Not sure if he got a touch or anything, but a spin looks like he may have gotten away with it there on the exit of the carousel.
Yeah. He was running 6th at the time. Here's a replay.
He might have got help.
I think he did. Zach Anderson. Those two have a lot of respect for one another.
Not anymore.
Well, that certainly changes the equation here, as the incident is under review. Actually, it's a different incident that's under review currently.
Yeah, I'm not sure the stewards can type that fast to get up on the message board, because that was just a few moments ago, but nonetheless, I think it will come up, because from my viewpoint, it looks like there had to have been a little bit of contact there with how rapidly Mackay lost the tail end of the car.
So let's reset the situation. Matt Bell, who's out in front, has not pitted.
Has to do that within the next 2.5 minutes.
Yep. So we can effectively ignore that in the de facto battle for the win. That means it's this Supra that we're watching here that John Jesbray started, and the reigning Toyota GR Cup champion Tyler Gonzalez is now piloting. What a debut for this team that would be if he were able to pick up a race win. Jesbray did a great job to get things started.
Kenton Cook is going to be chasing after him. He sits there about 2.7 seconds back currently. Now he's aboard the number 97 Random Vandals Racing BMW. And Zach Anderson 1 position back, but we've got to wait and see whether the stewards are going to do anything about where we feel he may have been involved in that spin for Mackay Stevens.
Well, that was Matt Bell pitting from the lead, and we'll turn it over to Alex Vogel. Great opening stint from Matt. Great to have him in the series. Jesbray working through some traffic here. That's Peterman in one of the, well, I think it was Peterman who started that car. It might be Carpentier now in one of the NOLA Sport Caymans. Gonzalez, he's been on it right away. His last lap was just a couple tenths off of that car's best. Here is Kenton Cook, who's giving chase. Big news earlier this week from this Random Vandals team, by the way, that they'll be adding a Fanatec GT entry for Kenton Cook and IndyCar driver Connor Daly for 3 races this season, starting at Road America. Also, they'll be racing at Barber, and then they'll be adding BMW factory driver Connor DeFilippi for the Indy 8-hour. I think that's the first complete crew for the 8-hour that's been announced here in April. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's exciting, and it's certainly a team that's going places. I mean, Paul Sparta is pretty much from the get-go said, you know, we have big aspirations as a team and as a group. We want to move up to GT3 when the time is right. They have an excellent relationship with BMW, so it's a natural fit for them to make that move with BMW, and with that, they get the luxury or the icing on the cake of having Connor DeFilippi, a BMW factory driver, join them for the 8-hour Indy race that he's had success at in the past.
Cool to see Kenton get that chance. When given the opportunity in the last couple of years, he has shown in GT3 cars. We know what he can do in Pirelli GT4 America, but a chance perhaps in the spotlight once again with 3 bites at the cherry this year in Fanatec GT.
Yeah, and it looks like he's a little bit closer to Gonzalez, so I think the gap was around 3 seconds a couple of laps ago. Some of this may be traffic related for Gonzalez having to cut his way through the traffic, but last time by the stripe it was 1.7, but now they've got clean air in front of them. Let's see who's really got the ultimate pace for the win.
Yeah, Anderson has been super fast, but there is still that incident under review that needs to be adjudicated. Mateus Laced has just set the CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race. We wondered what would the adaptation be to GT racing. His entire career has been in open wheel single seaters. I'd say he's a pretty quick study.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. 41.7, that's a nice lap by him. Leader's best lap right now is a 41.9, so this Rentec Mercedes certainly has pace here today.
Native of Novo Hamburgo in Brazil, won a British F3 championship back in 2016 before moving his career stateside. 2 of the drivers who he raced against, by the way, that year, not for full seasons, but you might have heard of them. They made partial season appearances. Lando Norris and Colton Herta. Pretty good competition to test yourself against in British F3 back in 2016.
Yeah, very much so. A couple of superstars right there, riding the crest of a wave. I think Lando starts the Japanese Grand Prix from 3rd on the grid for McLaren.
Now back to this car. Remember, they started with the alternate strategy, starting their pro, Eric Powell, who sprinted away from pole, built a nice margin. And while Colin Harrison did drop those 3 positions, all of those were to silver class cars. This is a Pro-Am car, so this continues to be the class leader in Pro-Am. I'd say so far so good on that roll of the dice.
Yeah, so maybe that's why we were seeing him be pretty circumspect with all of those cars around him, that they weren't cars for position within class, Ryan, so I think you're spot on there. But he doesn't have a massive lead because Tyler McQuarrie's up on the wheel aboard the 82 Bimmerworld car, and he sits about 9 seconds back.
He's got the recovering team car, driven by Mackay Stevens, closing in behind him. So how these 2 elect to orchestrate this seemingly inevitable exchange in position, that will be one to watch.
A little twitch there coming up the hill for Harrison. That's what Mackay talked about. He just said the car's pretty edgy compared to the Mercedes, but he said it's definitely got speed.
Harrison really using up those curves. Maybe kicked him wide a little bit. That's allowed Stevens to slip through.
He just needs to try and hang on to his tail here and just get into a rhythm.
And a chance to... Ooh, this is interesting. Incident will be reviewed post-race, so race control evidently feel like they need additional footage of that incident involving Anderson and Stevens. I think we'll have a chance to take a look at that once again, Calvin. Curious what you think as we watch it in replay.
Right there, it looked to me like Zach Anderson just had committed to mid-corner speed and going to the back of Mackay Stevens, and I think what they're looking at post-race is to maybe grab the video cards from those respective cars and get a better look at it, because maybe that's the best look that the stewards have. It couldn't be really get confirmation that there was indeed contact. I think the writing's on the wall, but they're going to probably wait and try and get the video card from Zach Anderson.
Cal, I'm going to request that we watch it again. There's one thing I want to watch for here. There's a chance that Mackay had a little bobble first that then led to the contact. Watch this. Maybe not. I thought at first blush that I saw a slight twitch and then the full around.
It's a tough angle. I think that's maybe why the stewards don't have a better angle than that, and they're having a tough time making a decision. But any onboard would, oh, Harrison, they're really wide. He's just got to tidy things up here a little bit.
Yeah, the gap is 6.2 seconds to McQuarrie right now, and Roman DeAngelis is not far behind either. And those are second and third in his class.
Right
there they are, right there, exactly. So that's closing down quickly.
Yeah, he just needs to not succumb to the pressure here. Just try and settle in, find a rhythm. Don't keep pushing, don't keep asking for more speed in the tricky parts of the racetrack. That approach up the hill in turn 1 is one of those. Diving up over the hill there into the carousel is another one. So don't risk it in those parts of the racetrack when you're trying to find a 10th or 2. Just hit your marks.
This is Tyler McQuarrie. James Walker Jr. started this car. Tyler has hopped aboard and has been closing in to the tune of about 1.5 seconds each of the last few laps relative to Colin Harrison. And he's bringing Roman DeAngelis with him. Roman also pretty quick in recent laps.
Yeah, it looks like Roman may have 3 or 4 tenths on Tyler even, so not on the last lap he didn't display that, but a little bit earlier in the stint. So certainly the Aston Martin for Heart of Racing has a chance here of climbing further up this podium run that they got going.
A number of the BMW drivers from Pirelli GT4 America that I talked to this weekend pointed out that they feel that this repave has turned this into more of a BMW track than it has been in years past. Previously, they've struggled to put power down. You don't have to worry about that so much with the grippier surface, so something to keep an eye on as the race progresses. In the meantime, a battle for the lead in the AM class. James Clay has been caught by Hannah Grisham. So Clay, the reigning champion in the BMW, and Hannah in her second year in the Heart of Racing Aston.
Let's not forget that Hannah with her teammate last year swept the Indy finale, had a couple of victories there, so they're going for 3 on the bounce.
That's a really good point. It was a season of ups and downs last year. Did get those 2 wins, had a couple of poles, did Hannah Grisham, the native of San Diego.
I think they just didn't have a lot of luck on their side. I mean,
agree.
with the M class, even if you've got great performance, you're right in the middle of the fire, so to speak. And we had some pretty spicy races last year, and they seem to always come out on the wrong end of that stick. So once they had a good, clean weekend like they did at Indy, then they really showcased what their true potential was and came away with a double victory.
I want to give credit to Hannah Greenmeyer, too, who started this race in that Aston. Put them in position now for Grisham to challenge for the lead. That's exactly what she's doing into the hairpin.
Clay, so much experience, though. That's really been a stalwart this form of racing for decades, it seems. But he's going to have to really lean on every ounce of experience that he's got, keeping this impressive young female driver behind him. She looks to the inside there, just waits, very patient right now, not quite close enough. When we talk about the different dynamic, the brake zones aren't quite as long this year with the increasing grip.
Really good stuff from these two drivers on opposite ends of the experience curve. Grisham looking close, looking to the inside. Clay just left enough room to get through cleanly, but never truly under threat.
No, and James is not afraid to get his elbows out either, so he's not going to give up this lead easily. They want to start off their threat for a triple championship on the right footing here with a victory. He doesn't want to give up the win. I'm sure Charlie's on the horn giving him a hard time. Make sure he keeps this win under their belt as well.
You know, Cal, my favorite thing about this Heart of Racing lineup is if I can't remember which of the 2 drivers is in the car, I can just say Hannah, and I'm guaranteed to be right. Keeping it simple for me. Much appreciated. Got a lapped car to contend with here.
Oh, look at this. Claire's got bottled up a bit. Hannah's going to just try and gauge that acceleration point midway through the corner. Get a run, get a better exit speed. Looks like she's done that. Oh, was there a touch?
I think there was.
Tried to force her way through, but as we said, James has got a lot of experience. Didn't give her a full lane there to the inside.
It's Sean Gibbons that they're working on. 10th place car in their class, but not on the same lap. Former class champion is Sean. Not having the best of days today, but still a long season ahead.
Loves his racing, as you said. Past champion. He and Owen's team together once again.
Championship was back in 2020, and his co-driver that year was none other than Zach Anderson, who we've been talking about. Currently runs 3rd overall. Kind of was a super bronze, if you will. You've heard of the super silver.
Yeah.
Zach was graded as a bronze for that year, allowed them to run as an AM, and they had a tremendous year, winning 8 times.
Yeah, certainly some tremendous performances by both of them on the way to the championship title, but Clay here is struggling here to find a clean way through on Sean, and Hannah just sits there now. Clay forces the issue. Sean gives way, allows both of them through. Hannah's going to go and try and get a run up over the top of 3. Doesn't get any closer, though.
She was so decisive when she saw that James had opened the door. She made sure to follow him through before he could close again.
Job by Gibbons there, giving both those drivers the room they needed.
Smoke there in the carousel. Not sure if somebody locked up or dropped a wheel. Track looks clean enough, though. Oh, she's got to run here this time, Cal.
Oh, there's smoke up ahead from a car in trouble. That's the 5 car of Hot, I believe, now behind the wheel. The 2nd driver in that entry today.
Correct. Samir Hot.
He's hot.
I'm afraid so. Smoke coming out of that car, but did find a safe place to pull off. That's the good news. Tough weekend for that duo. You mentioned the crash earlier in the weekend for the teammate, Stefan Radzinski, forcing them to go to a backup car. And
here we go. This is the battle for the Pro-Am lead. Look at the Angelas. He has caught Macquarie. Macquarie has caught Harrison here.
13 minutes to try and hang on for Colin Harrison in the pole-sitting car. Macquarie drawing alongside, trying to make the outside line work somehow. Able to find Purchase, and he is through. Following through will be Roman DeAngelis, who's now up to 2nd. Can he mount a challenge for the lead now that he's through on the Nissan?
That's what the new grip gives you, that racing opportunity to find it offline. This used to be a 1-line racetrack, not anymore.
Meanwhile, the battle for the overall lead is closing down. It's only 1 second between Tyler Gonzalez and Kenton Cook. So here we go. Battle for the lead is about a second or less in every single class here right now, Cal.
Yeah, what fantastic racing. We anticipated this in all 3 classes, looking at the lineups coming in. That's Shani maybe ahead in the Karis Callum entry. Gonzalez has got to try and figure out this, but he is going to feel the heat from Kenton Cook and Zach Anderson. Anderson obviously got that crowd hanging over him with that post-race review on that potential contact with he and Mackay Stevens, but that's not going to stop him from trying to win this race on the road at least.
It's now the top 3 overall nose to tail, trapped behind Nick Shandy's lap car for the moment, but Tyler Gonzalez being chased by Kenton Cook, who in turn is chased by Zach Anderson. They run nose to tail as they plunge down the hill.
There's a lot of talent behind the wheel of those 3 cars going for the lead here overall and in silver. Gonzalez, what a year he put together on the inaugural GR Cup Championship season. Basically dominated things. That got him this progress up into this GT4 machinery. Here comes Kenton Cook, big run. This is going to get tricky here. There's a lot of cars down into this brake zone. Gonzalez tries to get to the inside of Shani, forces his way through. Kenton goes with him.
That might be Terry Borcheller in the car that Shani started. But nevertheless, the leaders were able to make their way through.
Yeah, I saw the acronym on the screen, but I think you're right. I think it may be Borcheller. Here we go. Kenton Cook looks to the outside. Gonzalez hanging on right now.
Man, traffic opening up all kinds of opportunities, but so far, Tyler Gonzalez has not blinked. Well done, negotiating the traffic, hanging on to the lead, has to cover the inside just that little bit as Kenton Cook takes a look, and Zach Anderson right there too.
See Anderson there just trying to get that wider angle of attack on that corner, get to the power a little bit sooner. But it's tough. This racetrack's got so much grip. You don't have to be on the ideal perfect line any longer to get lap time.
Okay, here's the AM class battle once again. Starting to get strong. We've got an interloper in the mix.
It's Tom Dyer behind the wheel of the 13 entry for Flying Lizard.
Anna Grisham lets him through, and now will follow in the tire tracks, hoping that opens up an opportunity to go for the attack. Oh my goodness, how do you know where to look? With 3 battles for the lead in 3 different classes happening simultaneously. This, folks, is Pirelli GT4 America. This is what we love.
Gonzalez doing a really solid job. He had a lot of pressure there to deal with that traffic situation and not make a mistake and open up the door. And he's got 2 of the best nipping at his heels in really competitive BMWs.
There is some shared componentry, right, between the Supra and the BMWs. Surprisingly enough, those 2 very disparate brands actually aligned on the Supra to some degree.
Gonzalez really using the curbs there, throws it through 9B. Doesn't seem like he loses any exit speed though. He's still got best part of 10 minutes to hang on here. Threshold braking, car squirming around there, taking it as deep as he possibly dare without making a mistake.
Tyler Gonzalez, one of these guys that no matter what kind of car you put him in, he just goes fast. Had a really good season back in 2020 in TC America, finished 3rd in the championship with 5 wins for Copeland Motorsports in the TCA class. That was in a front-wheel drive Veloster. Oh, he's got some traffic there. That's going to balk him a little bit. Anthony Girazzi in the Krug Speed car giving way to the leaders as they come through. We've seen Gonzalez in...
Oh, look at that. Completely sideways. Kenton dives down to the inside. Watch out for Zach Anderson to try and get by both of them. Can't quite make it work. Big, big moment there through 3B. Completely sideways coming off the top of the hill.
Oh, outstanding racecraft at the front of this field. Gonzalez in the Supra leads the BMW pairing of Cook and Anderson. One more time down the drag strip, down to turn number 7.
Classy driving there by Kenton Cook. Didn't just bully his way down to the inside and force Gonzalez out in turn 4. He still thinks he can win though, despite not taking that opportunity.
Race Vision powered by AWS. Fastest laps across the different classes combined, and Mateus Lay still holds that CrowdStrike fastest lap of the race. He's down in 9th overall and just raced his way, it looks like, into 4th in class, so just off the podium. Nice drive for him in his first ever GT4 start. Under 10 minutes to go. And the leaders, 1st through 3rd, run nose to tail. Tyler Gonzalez, can he hang on in his first race in Pirelli GT4 America with Smooge Racing? Ran a partial schedule a year ago with Copeland Motorsports in one of these Toyota Supras. But signed up with the Smooge team. John Jesbroy got it started. Now it's up to Tyler to finish.
Well, he's using every ounce of performance and every ounce of talent here to try and hang on to this win in the lead right now. Just under 7 minutes to go. 4 or 5 laps, I would say, maybe 5. That's a long way to hang on.
Elsewhere, the battle for the lead in Pro-Am is just a half a second between McCrory and DeAngelis. The battle for the lead in AM at the line was 1/10 of a second. Battles everywhere. This is the fight for the lead in the AM class. Hannah Grisham closing in on James Clay once again, taking a shot at the defending 2-time class champion.
How close do you like it? Almost trading paint as they climb the hill there through turn 1. Clay working the wheel, trying to hang on, grab another win. The three-peat is on this year, but it will not come easy. So hard to follow a car closely up over the crest of the hill. It's tough enough by yourself, let alone when you got that big rear wing in front of you taking away more of the visual.
Really impressive racecraft from Hannah Grisham. Frankly, we just didn't get to see her a whole lot last year. Oh my goodness, now what do we have here? More fights on hand. This is the fight for the lead in Pro-Am. Got a lapped car out in front of the class-leading BMW of Tyler McQuarrie. Roman DeAngelis closing in. DeAngelis, the Canadian, super quick young driver, one of the stars. Well, I was going to say of the future, he's a star of the present as well. He is hunting for a class lead.
Watch him try to set up this move on McQuarrie, but McQuarrie's got a ton of experience. He's won championships at this level as well. Watch DeAngelis, he's going to try and get the launch up over the top. McQuarrie, middle of the road. Now he tucks it down to the inside. DeAngelis goes with him.
Able to follow him through. Great job by the Porsche driver to let both come through. Saw that developing.
Racecraft at the top level here. You're seeing right in front of your eyes by Tyler McQuarrie hanging on to this lead. It's a big launch off the carousel. Really impressive there, how quickly he gets off that corner.
And needs to, because that Aston Martin is looking strong as the run progresses. By the way, Tyler Gonzalez just set his car's fastest lap of the race the last time by, as did Kenton Cook, as they chase one another around Sonoma Raceway.
Kenton Cook was 100th quicker. How tight do you like it? But for the Harder Racing team, we got two of their cars running in P2 in different classes. Is it going to be a big day with a couple of wins or a couple of runner-up finishes?
It all comes down to this final few minutes. Alex Vogel giving way as this fight for the lead comes through. Corey in the BMW and DeAngelis in the Aston Martin. It looked like in that exchange, at least, the traffic helped the BMW driver just that little bit.
It did. Roman's going to regroup here, though. What an excellent young driver that Canadian is. Here is Grisham.
She is through. She has made the move
Big
on
time.
James Clay to take the lead in the AM class, and I think we're going to be able to show you just how she got it done. Since making the pass, look at the gap she's been able to pull. Hannah Grisham, and this was the move, Calvin.
Down into the turn 9 brake zone. Gets it down to the inside. Nicely done, nice and clean. Respect from James Clay. He didn't get too defensive either, and he's lost a lot of ground. Hannah Grisham is on her way. So one of the Harder Racing machines, you see a little bit of the bodywork there on the right rear corner coming adrift.
Fantastic racecraft. She really left him no choice with her car placement. Perfect pass, textbook, and she's through to the lead, running inside. Just outside, rather, the top 10 overall. Final couple of minutes, there will be 2 laps to go at the line. Tyler Gonzalez trying to hold on. The team got the job done in the pit strategy. He came out in front. He's not looked back except to monitor the mirror and the progress of Kenton Cook, who has been mirroring him throughout the course of this stint.
He looked vulnerable at one point, didn't he? But right now, it seems like he's back in control and feeling confident. Kenton's got to regroup here. He's really got to get close to him. Look at Gonzalez using every inch of the road and more to try and escape from the clutches of the 2 BMWs.
Now, this is no Sunday drive. He is on the ragged edge, but he has pulled the gap here, Calvin, on this lap. It's not a battle for the lead anymore. It's a battle for second between Cook and Anderson.
Well, I think he's got enough of a buffer now that he can really just try and execute his lines to the maximum and get the ultimate lap time out of that race car. And that's making a big difference to that gap. Little lock up there. These cars do have ABS, but you can still just get that little puff of tire smoke initially before the ABS system kicks in.
right now, Kit and Cook and the CrowdStrike Random Vandals team, they've got to be wishing that that incident had already been reviewed so they would know whether or not this is a fight they needed to fight. Because it's going to be reviewed post-race, they still need to fight this thing out. They can't rely on a potential penalty coming later.
Yeah, and for Kent and Cook, I think he felt that he had time on his side, that he was eventually going to make the move for the lead because they got so close down there in turn 4. He played it clean, didn't force his way through, and now he may be wishing they'd maybe taken a different approach on that. There's going to be some contact, certainly, but I think he was legitimately had the opportunity to go for that lead there and gave it up.
Fantastic lap from Gonzalez. That's allowed him to build a gap to 0.7 of a second with 1 lap to go. 2.5 miles, 12 turns around Sonoma Raceway for Tyler Gonzalez, who is looking for an overall win as well as a class win in the silver category.
He is literally throwing this GR Supra around this racetrack. What a performance.
And has this, no, this is the Pro-Am battle here, McQuarrie and DeAngelis. It continues here into the final lap around Sonoma.
Harder racing, going for the double victory potentially. Grisham has done her task, got to the lead in Am. What can Roman do?
Well, you know he'll go for it if given the opportunity. But McQuarrie's defense has been robust. He has yet to give any sign of weakness for the Canadian driver, Roman DeAngelis, to pounce.
Macquarie so disappointed that they didn't seal the championship last year. Were a threat all season long. Didn't go well for them in the last couple of rounds at Indy. Determined to come back and showcase what they can do. This would be a brilliant start.
A brilliant start for this young man as well, Tyler Gonzalez, stepping in to the Smooge Racing operation. Great opening stint from John Jesbray, great pit work from the team. Tyler Gonzalez then had
drifting it.
Yeah.
A Scandinavian flick into the brake zone for turn 11.
He had to bring that car to the checkered flag, and that's exactly what Tyler Gonzalez has done. Victory in Pirelli GT4 America to Smooge Racing, John Jesbray, and Tyler Gonzalez fending off Kenton Cook and Zach Anderson. That is the podium in the silver class. Now to Pro-Am, where the battle continues here between Tyler McQuarrie and the Aston of Roman DeAngelis. McQuarrie, though, has found just enough to keep DeAngelis at arm's length, and the BMW driver rounds the final bend. McQuarrie and Walker win in the Pro-Am class here at Sonoma. Good start to the year as well for Heart of Racing to come home with a second place in Pro-Am, and it appears just a few corners now away from an AM class victory. 3 on the trot for Hannah Grisham, going back to last year's season finale in Indianapolis, teaming up for the first time with Hannah Greenmeyer, and these two appear to be a pairing to watch all season long. Out of the final quarter, the Heart of Racing team makes that left-hand bend. The two Hannahs win in Sonoma Raceway. Grisham and Greenmeyer get the job done for the Heart of Racing squad.
Awesome job. What a performance by that young lady. Going up against one of the best in the game in James Clay, so much experience, but he played it nice. Didn't get too ugly when she finally got that track position down to the inside for turn 9, so hats off to both of them. Good points for Clay and Postons to start their campaign.
How about that show to kick off 2024? Green to checkers.
That was nice.
With battles for class leads in all 3 classes that came down to the final lap.
Yeah, and it's just a showcase of what sort of racing we can put on in this championship if everyone keeps their head. There's some good hard racing, few moments, but nonetheless 3 brilliant victories. I mean, every one of those battles was intense.
Wow. Everyone in the GR Cup paddock right now is cheering for this guy, Tyler Gonzalez, who won the inaugural championship last year and promptly jumps back into GT4. Admittedly, he's done some before, but into a front-running car and First time of asking here with Smooge Racing. Tyler Gonzalez delivers, and he had to. I mean, you look at the talent stacked up behind him. Kenton Cook, Zach Anderson, Mackay Stevens finishing second, third, and fourth. That's something to finish ahead of that trio. Results from race 1. That was the M class, as you could see a moment ago. These are the overall results. Of course, pending a few post-race reviews from race control. There are a few incidents that still need to be adjudicated, but as they cross the line, at least, Chesbray Gonzalez by 0.7 of a second over Bohm and Cook. Colin Garrett, Zach Anderson third. Then Stevens and Newdorf, who I think was particularly impressive this weekend thus far on debut. Then we get to Pro-Am, where James Walker Jr. and Tyler McQuarrie kick off the season with a win ahead of Heart of Racing's Gray Newell and Roman DeAngelis. And how about Mateus Laced and Michael Oriema? Great run up to 7th overall, third in class.
Yeah, that was really impressive. Laced certainly showcasing he's got amazing skills even in a GT car.
AM class winners, Hannah Greenmeyer, Hannah Grisham, really well done. Fending off the challenge late in the going. Actually, James Clay lost another spot on that last lap. Chris Wilson got by. Wow. So Random Vandals with a double podium, it would appear, in 2 different classes. Well, we told you who the winners were. Now, let's go ahead and hear from some of them. Amanda Busick is down at Victory Lane.
Well, you can imagine the celebration between these teammates. I know John Jesbray just yelled at you and said, "Come on!" In your very first Pirelli GT4 race, you are the winner, Tyler. Could you have imagined this moment?
I mean, you know, there's so many people that have helped me get here. I just can't thank all of them enough. Obviously, Smooge, my teammate John, Toyota, TRD, TD2, all these programs that have made me the driver I am today. We're here for the championship, so hopefully we can get it done, and this is off to a pretty good start, I'd say.
You didn't really flinch with Kenton Cook behind you, as well as the champion of the series last year behind Kenton. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I mean, the lappers, they definitely played a role, but I just kept cool. I mean, this Toyota Supra was on rails all day, so I knew I had the car to do it. It was up to me, and I'm glad we got it done.
John, what can we make of this duo this year?
Yeah, I mean, first off, so many things went right today. Tyler drove his ass off, and I guess I can't say that on TV. Did. But he drove his tail off. Toyota, Smooge, everybody helped us get here, and yeah, we executed today. And I honestly didn't think we'd be going in today for the win, but you know, door after door kept opening, and we kept stepping through it, and our team executed, and we did a good job. So,
congratulations. As we head on to more winners here in Pirelli GT4, as Tyler gets his helmet off, I'm sure going to be excited about this moment. You'll go back to Indy last year. This team was the runner-up in the 2023 season by 1 point. And a BMW has a win at Sonoma. Talk us through it.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like you said, we lost the championship last year by 1 point, so we're on a mission. Yeah. This guy had an amazing start, got us in a really good position. And, you know, I just laid down laps, and it's crazy. This is my home track. This is where I grew up. First time racing a car 25 years ago. I remember sitting on the hill up there and being like, you got to make this work, be a driver. And it's always good to win here, and especially to start the season out like this where we need some redemption.
Fantastic way to start the year, right? Last year, we knew we were so close. We knew we had the package. We picked right up where we left off. We are ready for this season. Hello to all my family that's watching. I love you all. Thank you so much.
And currently points leaders.
For the moment and for the season. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you think of when you join a team, Hannah squared with the win here in race 1. And Hannah, I'm going to talk with you as the congratulations happen. You join into this outfit with the win here in race 1. What works so well between you and Hannah?
I think we just gel really nicely together. We both want to win a lot, and yeah, she's been pushing me and helping me so much, and I can't thank her enough. And she did an amazing pass, and just thanks to everybody at the Heart of Racing for all their hard work. And yeah, she made the race winning pass.
You did, Hannah. It was about 3 minutes to go. How long did you set that one up?
A while. He did not make it easy on me, that's for sure. But I was trying to plan out maybe where I wanted to do it, and that's where I thought I would try to put it in there. So it worked out well. Hannah did amazing. This is only her second ever sports car race, and she did phenomenal. So I'm really excited to see, you know, what kind of progress we can make this year. And I mean, not much farther up you can go, but just keep this momentum into the rest of the season and hopefully win a championship.
Executed perfectly. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Smiles all around. I like it. Hannah squared. Easy way to keep tabs on that team. Number of interested spectators around the track took note of that performance today, Calvin. And, you know, if James Clay and Charlie Postons thought a three-peat was going to be easy, today the message was sent. It will not be.
No, there's some great competition in all three classes. There's some stacked lineups, really quality teams. What a great way to start a championship campaign. I mean, these races can be so exciting like we saw today, but you got to give each other a little bit of racing room. We saw that respect today, and that's the sort of quality you can see in the show you can put on.
Highlights from an exciting opening race to the 2024 season. A pair of Tech Sport teammates led the field to green, and it was ultimately the pole sitter Eric Powell that was able to consolidate his advantage from the Rova pole position. A couple of teammates here from NOLA Sport. Close call, but able to pull off the move. Not so much here, unfortunately. It looks like some contacts between two of the front runners, and that will be judged later in the race. Big slide there. Tyler Gonzalez, somehow though, Calvin, he was able to hang on to the lead.
An amazing catch and great respect there by Kenton Cook. He didn't force his way through, but Hannah Grisham did there for the AMP class lead late in the going.
Oh, with under 5 minutes to go, that was the move for the lead, but the win belongs overall to Smooge Racing. Tyler Gonzalez, John Jesbray pick up the victory. Great effort from the Bimmer World squad to get the win in Pro-Am, and in the AM class, Heart of Racing begins 2024 in Victory Lane.